In this tutorial, you'll learn how to search for accounting articles in the library databases. To get to the library databases, go to the MSMC portal at my.msmc.edu and log in with your Mount credentials, your username and your password. You'll see a link to the library on the portal page. Click on that. Go to Find Information and choose Articles and Databases. If you scroll to the bottom, you see that there's a list of all databases that you can look at from A to Z if you happen to know the name of the database. Or you can browse databases by subject, which is how I prefer to go in, because there are research guides that the librarians have created that correspond to the majors at the Mount. So if we choose accounting, we'll be taken to a research guide that I've created that kind of is a portal to information about accounting. So we've got books and articles on this main page. There's tabs up top that have all different categories of information. And there's tips and links to our interlibrary loan page. There's a link to the catalog. The main link in the main group of links in the middle is to our databases. And there's my contact information as well. So you can email or call me with a question and I'll be happy to answer your question or set up an individual appointment. There's also journals you can look at that are business and economics related. Today we're going to search Business Source Premier. And all of the databases have the same functionality. They just look a little bit different and they have different content. So if you search one and you learn how to do it, you can use the same skills in other databases. So if we were interested in the topic of sustainability in accounting, I start first with a keyword search, which means I'm just searching any field that the database can find, and I do this because you never know how the database will index a topic. So once I do a keyword search, I can then look at the abstract of the articles and find out how the subject is indexed in the database to get more specific. So you see that in just a few seconds, we got almost 4,700 articles. They all display 10 at a time in the middle of the page. But this is not a very specific search because it's looking for the term anywhere in the database, anywhere in the article, the abstract, the title, any mention of sustainability or accounting. But what I do now is look at the subject headings that are listed under the name of the article and the article information. And I see that sustainability is a subject term, as well as you can see there's different kinds of accounting listed in here. Accounting in general is also a subject. So at that point, since I know they're both subject terms, I can go up, choose subject terms from the drop-down, and research. So perform the search again. And searching for sustainability and accounting as a subject term, set of subject terms together, we now have 305 results. So that's a much more manageable result. It's not as many to look through. You still don't have to look through all of these, but it's a better result than looking through 4,700 articles, which is what I often see students do, and then they get frustrated because they're not finding what they need. So a bit about the different kinds of research that take place in accounting. If you look over here to the side, you see that the 305 articles are divided up into source types, so the database is telling you what kind of research you're pulling up. Accounting research is variable. It examines how accounting is used by individuals, organizations, and the government, as well as the consequences that those practices have, and it studies the roles of accounting in these organizations and society and the consequences that the practices have for individuals, organizations, and governments, and capital markets as well. So you see that there are 185 academic journals out of this 305 result that you've gotten. Academic journals contain research that's done in accounting from academic people. academic accountants, and it addresses all areas of the accounting profession and examines issues using the scientific method. So they tend to have evidence from a wide variety of sources, including financial information, experiments, computer simulations, surveys. There's many different ways to study it, but it's much more research oriented, and it leads to the scholarship in the field. In contrast, there's 53 magazines and 37 trade publications, and magazines tend to be they're more popular oriented. The trade publications are for practicing accountants. So these two categories are going to contain accounting research that tends to focus more on solving immediate problems for either a single client or a small group of clients. And they're about implementation of new accounting or auditing standards, the presentation of transactions that are unusual in financial statements, and the impact of things like new tax laws on clients. So it's not as scholarly based, it's more real-world experience based. Accounting research can also be carried out by accounting organizations such as standard-setting bodies. This would include the International Accounting Standards Board, the IASB, and they may initiate research projects for certain issues, and they use these results to inform their decision-making and maybe to move in a different direction with the standards that they set. So once you do a search, you always have limiters along the side that the database uses to make your search a little more specific. So one of the first things you can do when you get a result that's large, like this 300 articles that we have to go through, is you can limit to full text. And when we do that, we go from 305 to 101 articles that are full text. So this way you won't have to go anywhere else to find the articles, you won't have to loan the articles from somewhere else or go to another database. So we've limited to full text, but let's out of that look at the two different kinds of the research that's done in accounting. So 50 of these articles are academic journals. So if we take the 101 and we now limit to just academic journals, we see that we got about half the result. And EBSCO has a little hourglass feature. So instead of going in and out of each article, you can look at this little hourglass here, and it gives you an abstract, kind of an overview of the article, so you could get an idea if it's going to help you or not in your research. The preferred format that you're going to want is PDF full text. So let's take a look at an academic article and see what it looks like. So this is entitled Exploring Stakeholders Dialogue and Corporate Social Responsibility on Twitter. So a typical academic article will have an abstract and keywords, and you'll see an introduction page or section where they're going to review other research. You see a lot of references to previous research and what the scholarship has shown so far. They explain a little bit more about an issue they're studying and how they put some tables in and charts and graphs and data. And they talk about how their study is conducted, what the methodology is, would cover that, and the sample that they used, how they did their experiment or their study of any kind of sort. And then they have a results section where they give you the data they found, and they usually have a discussion about that, and usually we'll talk about what are the implications for future research. So this is a very good example of a scholarly or academic journal in the accounting field. You'll see references, so they have the research that they have cited in their paper, in their study. At this point, you can download the article or print the article, and there is a cite feature within the database, so you just have to pick out the proper citation style, and then you can copy this, cut and paste it right into your paper. So you have the citation right there for you, and they have several citation styles, as you can see. So we'll go back to the result list, and we're going to uncheck academic journals. So we go back to the 101 results, and now we're going to check trade publications. So I just want to show you in contrast what a typical article in a trade publication would look like. So these are articles that are, or journals that are published for practitioners in the field, and they're not scholarly. They don't tend to be studies or anything like that. They usually talk about issues or situations where accounting is practiced and how that works. You'll see that instead of PDFs, you have a lot more HTML content here. HTML contains all of the content, but it's not a scanned version that you would see in a journal as if you went and copied the article right out of the journal. So for citation purposes, HTML is not as good, but if it's just a one-page article, it's going to be fine. It's the same pagination that you would need to cite. But you see, number 4 is a PDF, and it's from a journal called CFO. Take a look at that. And you'll see it's a much more colorful, user-friendly article that has no charts or data. It's just a very straightforward article talking about a situation or an issue in accounting, what they found. So that would be what you'll see in a magazine or a trade journal. So it depends on how you want to use your research. If you do want to use the academic side, you can limit to scholarly, peer-reviewed, or the academic journals, which is usually the same thing. If you really need peer-reviewed journals, then you need to check that off. But most of the time, it's kind of interchangeable in the databases. There are many other ways to limit your search. You can use the date range. So you could say, I only want the last 5 or 10 years of research. You can limit to that. Either use the slider bar or just plug a date in here. You can look at subjects that are in the articles that you've pulled up. So you could pick something that's about accounting students, for instance, or social responsibility. You can limit to a particular publication. So you see how they break out. 10 of these are in CPA Journal, 10 of the articles are in Accounting Today, etc. Can limit to a particular company. So they will have groups, and you can also put this in your search box, but you can see what the results were and what organizations and companies are represented. Can limit to a language. There are often other languages in here besides English, so you could limit to that. Geography. So if you want something in Great Britain, you can limit to that. Or industry. So they have industries that they will often involve, or organizations. So the database gives you a lot of ways to refine your results. I like to start out, as I said, with keyword, then go to subject, put a couple of terms in together, and then start limiting maybe to full text or add my limits. But I like to see what the raw search will show first, and then I like to apply limits. Just a note that this database also includes ebook content. So you will pull that up with each search. Sometimes that's helpful, sometimes not, but it's good to know that it's there. And basically, that's the mechanics of searching for articles in the accounting field. If you have any questions, please contact me, and I'm happy to have an individual appointment if you need more assistance. Have a good day.